Hello my friends, welcome back and thank you for joining. I wanted to take some time today to talk about a wonderful CAO cigar that I personally think does not get enough credit, and that is the CAO Nicaragua. So the CAO Nicaragua is relatively new for the portfolio. It came out in, I believe, 2018, and it's kind of highlighting the roots of CAO. CAO is a Nicaraguan brand. The factory is located in Esteli, Nicaragua, and I love that this blend is kind of paying tribute to the history of CAO. So for the blend, we are using 3 different regions of Nicaraguan tobacco for the filler, Condega, Jalapa, as well as Esteli. Now, if you're familiar with the differences in the soil, you'll know that they are very diverse. Esteli tends to be a little bit more bold and flavor forward, whereas Jalapa is a little bit more subtle but has some sweetness to it, and Condega kind of has that earthy spice to it. So bringing them all together really gives you a great balance of flavors, and I think perfectly encapsulates the diversity that Nicaragua as a country has to offer for the cigar world. And Nicaragua overall right now, I feel like, is just booming for tobacco. It's kind of like the growing, the country for tobacco right now. There's so many great blends coming out of there, so many great companies based there, and I love that CAO went back to its roots with this cigar. Now, we are using Honduran Jamastran for both the binder and the filler to kind of intensify the flavors from those Nicaraguan fillers. So this cigar is going to be medium bodied and flavorful, complex, but still subtle to a point, if that makes sense. It's very balanced. You get a little bit of a nuttiness to it, but more of like a toasted nuttiness, some dried fruit sweetness, which is very, I would say, I guess, indicative of the Jalapa growing region. You're getting that little bit of sweetness, and because of all the rich volcanic soil, you are getting a very flavor forward smoke, which is what this is delivering. And overall, this cigar tends to lean more towards pepper but not spice, so you're getting a little bit of that black pepper. It's not sharp, but it's prevalent, and the cigar really continues to open up as you smoke it. Great smoke production, holding an ash really, really well. And what's interesting about the ash is that you can see the appearance. It's a little bit more black or gray. So the soil not only affects the flavor, but it also affects the appearance. And not just from the wrapper, but also from the ash. So having this darker kind of gray-black ash tells you that it's coming from a very volcanic region. And that is true because this filler is all Nicaraguan. So I love that you're getting all of those different Nicaraguan regions coming together and creating this amazing balance and dynamic smoke. What I also love about this brand, or this particular line, is that the name of the vitolas, they're actually named after popular cities in Nicaragua, like Granada or Tipitapa. So I thought that was an interesting, fun little addition that Rick and the CAO team did to make the cigar a little bit more unique. But it's so interesting because you have all these flavors. You have the toasted nuts, the little bit of earthy sweetness, that dried fruit. But you're also getting like a very subtle dark chocolate note as well. And it continues just to be incredibly smooth through and through as you are smoking it. And I know Rick Rodriguez, who's our master blender for CAO, was really excited when this cigar came out. In fact, like me, he agrees that it's a very underrated CAO. So if you guys have not picked one up and tried it, I would definitely recommend it. What I love about CAO overall is that the portfolio is so diverse, and I love that this is kind of falling in line with the rest of like that CAO World Series. So there's the Brasilia that's using Brazilian tobacco. We have the Colombia, which is using Colombian tobacco. We have the America and the Italia, and it's just fantastic that we're able to use all of these different tobaccos and kind of highlight what those countries have to offer. So it's great that we could take this cigar and pay tribute to CAO's roots, while also kind of keeping in line with the World Series. But in addition to that, CAO, Rick, you know, they can just do whatever they want. The cigars coming out of CAO are so incredible and, like I said, so diverse. If you guys haven't tried the new CAO session yet, I would also highly recommend that. If you're looking for that kind of quintessential Maduro wrapper with the cocoa and the little bit of sweetness and the coffee notes, the CAO session really knocks that out of the park if you're looking for that just kind of classic Maduro wrapper. But CAO can do no wrong in my eyes. Rick is an incredible person and an incredible blender, and if you guys have had the opportunity to meet him in person or go to one of his events, you will understand. But I love the innovation and the uniqueness that CAO as a brand brings to our entire portfolio. As far as pairings go, I would pair this with either like a spiced rum or a bourbon. So I would probably gravitate a little bit more towards spiced rum because you're getting a little bit of that natural sweetness. I think it would really amplify that kind of dried fruit sweetness that the smoke delivers, as well as kind of bringing out some of those peppery notes as well. And also, you know, bourbon can be, I would recommend a bourbon that's going to be a little bit smoother, maybe not as sharp, but again, some of those natural sweeter notes like the caramels or like the cedar, I think would really balance the cigar out nicely. But it's also a cigar that I think would pair well with a lot. It's got a lot of flavor to it, but it's not so intense that if you were to pair it with something maybe that you wouldn't necessarily think about pairing a cigar with, like something lighter like a white wine or a Moscow Mule or even like a vodka lemonade or something, it might not be the best pairing to really highlight certain flavors, but I think the cigar has enough subtleties to it that you can really smoke it with anything. If you're not a drinker, I would recommend it with like an Arnold Palmer. I think that would be fantastic with it, but it's also just a great cigar to have on its own, and the smoke production is amazing, and I mean, it's holding an ash super, super well. If I was going to sit down and listen to an album while smoking this, I would listen to Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. And I love Nicaragua as a country. I have always very much enjoyed my visits there for our cigar factories, and going there and experiencing the culture and the beauty that is the country. So I just, for me, Wish You Were Here. It's like, yes, I wish I was there. I wish I was spending time in Nicaragua at our factory right now. But it's also, it's a classic album, and CAO is a classic brand. It's been around for quite some time, and they continue to innovate, just like Pink Floyd was very innovative in their music and styling as well. So I would sit down with a great glass of spiced rum, this cigar, crank that album up to 100, and sit back and enjoy the wonderful smoke that is the CAO Nicaragua. If you guys have smoked this and you really enjoy it, let me know. If you have any questions on the cigar in particular, also please put it in the comment section. But let's give this cigar a rating. So as far as smoke production, I would say very smoky, easy draw, super consistent, 10 out of 10. The construction, like all CAOs, is incredible. It's got a very, very even burn. You don't have to babysit it. That Honduran Jamastran wrapper is oily, but it's not difficult to keep the cigar lit. Sometimes when you get a thicker, oilier wrapper, you can run into issues with combustion where you have to babysit it a little bit more, and that is just not the case with this cigar. So 10 out of 10, would smoke again. But like I said, this is one of my favorites from CAO, and I think it's just so incredibly unique. And like I said, I love that it's highlighting a wonderful country that is producing amazing tobacco for cigars, not just CAO or any of our other brands, but for the cigar industry as a whole. So I hope you enjoy the cigar as much as I do, and I will talk to you guys later.